What's up, guys? It is Monday, March 11th, 2024, MMAOB Daily Podcast. I am your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by my co-host here, Mr. Big Marcel, and we are going to be recapping UFC 299, which was a pretty epic card, which you expected. It was turned out to be a pretty damn good card itself. Looking forward to recapping this card with you, Marcel. We'll also talk a little bit about that PFL card, which was kind of controversial, and then we can touch on the Nagano and Fury, Nagano and Joshua fight as well. Marcel, how's it going, man? How are you?
Doing well, man. Yeah, it's early for me today, you know. Normally it's like 11, now it's 10. It's like daylight savings time is at yours, right? Over here it's not until March 30th. So it's just weird, you know. I always hate those times when it happens because not with the podcast, but just in general, you know. Now I have to think like if I do Eastern time, I have to think +5. You know, I normally have to think +6. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, and it's going to change
just
at the end
more.
of the month again, but I'm glad we figured it out yesterday.
Yeah.
We had a reminder for our buddy Glenn here, who's, of course, the first in the chat, as always. What's up, Glenn? Ton Collectibles here, TG. What's up, guys? Glad to have you guys here. So, two podcasts, as always, on Monday. We're going to recap UFC 299. The first podcast that will preview UFC Vegas 88, Tuvasa versus Tabura in the second podcast. I want to give a shout out to our boy, Fight Talk Only, for the artwork, as always. Always got to give him a shout out. A couple other comments here from Antoine. What's up, Antoine? Doing well, man. Glad to have you here. Yeah, let's get into it, Marcel. Might as well not waste any time.
Yeah.
UFC 299. We got a lot to talk about here, guys. Let's start with the picks. I mean, another great night for me, guys. 11-3 in my picks. I've just been killing it this year. It's been a really good. This is probably the best year I've had for picks. And I got the main event right. So I don't know if Claudio was going to be in the chat today. Claudio, I got the main event and I got the 5-round co-main event too. So definitely a nice little bonus there. Getting Poirier is a big underdog there, Marcel. But overall, a good night for picks. Let's start with the main event, Marcel. We both had Sean O'Malley. I had him by decision. You had him by knockout. Honestly, Marcel, this is how I thought it would play out because Chios is so tough. Because that knee that he ate, I think it was the third round, I want to say.
Second.
That knee would, second round? Yeah, that would have knocked out most fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think. So it just shows you how next level tough Cheeto is. Like, he really is one of the most durable guys probably to ever step in the UFC. Like, I don't know if he's ever going to get knocked out. He's crazy tough, but O'Malley, just an epic performance here. 230 significant strikes landed. Amazing performance. He won a bonus, well deserved. The fight did the card did $14 million at the gate. So the UFC made a shitload of money on this card. They gave out extra bonuses, which was nice. But yeah, Sean O'Malley looked amazing. Give me your thoughts on his performance.
Great performance, man. I think even Cheeto, his best round was round number 4, I think, and even in that round, O'Malley was better, you know. So it was like it was a blowout, five rounds for O'Malley. I think one judge gave one 10-8 round. I didn't saw 10-8 round. I think it was just on 10-9, but just convincing 10-9s in my opinion.
Yeah,
good win, but hey, man, listen, we all expected O'Malley to win, you know, to be really honest. So a lot of people are like, nah, now we can say he's legit. Listen, we all knew he was good and he's legit, you know. He still needs to fight the actual number 1 contenders in the division, you know. It's good that he rematched Cheeto and that he got his revenge. I'm happy for him, but we all knew he should have fought Marab last weekend, you know. And even though it was Marab, should have been Corey Sandhagen. So for me, it's still like it was a great performance. I will not take that away from him. He looked really good, but he needs to fight number 1 contenders in the division, man. You know, I think it's very important. And yeah, we'll see what's going to be next. You know, and yeah, but like you said, very very good. You cannot say anything bad about his performance because it was really good. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he looked amazing. There's no doubt about it. Now he's definitely pissing people off though because of what he's talking about. As far as his next opponent, which obviously should be Marab, but now he's saying he wants to fight Ilia Topuria. And now today, I think he was saying he wants to fight Floyd Mayweather. So he's looking for those money fights, Marcel. And you know what's kind of saying to me, Marcel? He's not a guy that's going to be around for the long haul. I don't think he's going to stick around, you know, until he's 40 years old fighting in the UFC. He's 29. I think he's got a couple of years left. I think he's making a shitload of money. He's going to make as much as he can, but he doesn't seem like a guy that wants to be around for the long haul. And I respect that because this is a sport where you want to, you know, get in and get out. And I think Ilia Topuria was saying something similar. He's like, I got a couple years left. So these younger guys are champions or amazing fighters. They don't want to take as much damage as the older veterans have. I think they're learning from those guys that were the legends and pioneers of the sport. So that's kind of what the thought I'm getting from is he's trying to get the biggest fights possible right now. the biggest fight right now was Vera. I think he didn't deserve it though. Vera did not deserve this title shot. It was actually bullshit. He got the title shot. It should have been Rob. Rob should get the next title shot, but I have a feeling he's not going to fight him, Marcel. I have a feeling they're going to do a different fight. Go ahead.
I'm happy that the Poirier is from Georgia as well, because he's from Georgia. He's like, you should fight Marab first, and because Marab is a friend of
Marab. I mean, that's the fight that makes sense. And I think the odds came out. I think Marab's the favorite, right? Yeah, he's like minus
220,
or now it's 220. Jesus. So, I mean, I get that, but I think Sean is really good too. And I think people have slept on him a little bit. Right, like when he fought Peter Yan, he was underdog. When he fought Sterling, I think he was underdog in Sterling, right? So,
Adam, the problem is that I still think he didn't beat Peter Yan. You know what I mean? And Sterling, of course, obviously he beat him, he finished him. But the thing is, like with Marab, I think it can go both ways. I think listen, Marab will go for takedowns and keep going for takedowns. But Sean can catch him. You know what I mean? Marab has been catched before by Moraes, by Cejudo in the first round. And I think if he catches him, he can finish him. So, I mean, it can go both ways. So it's still, people are like, Marab is going to absolutely destroy him. I don't think so, man. I think it will be kind of a 50-50 fight. It can go both ways. But if Marab is able to get him down, I think Marab will win probably. But if he struggles to get him down, I mean, Sean is a much better striker.
Yeah, the odds opened up today. So it was Marab minus 155, O'Malley plus 135, and then Topuria minus 285, O'Malley plus 245. Again, I think they're sleeping on Sean. He's a really good fighter.
Listen, if he fights Topuria, he gets destroyed. I tell you right now.
The punching power difference. Maybe.
Yeah, he gets absolutely destroyed, and not just on the ground, but also on the feet. I tell you right now.
They're both hard fights. I mean, there's no easy fight. I think Corey Sandhagen's a great fighter, but I feel like Corey's, an easier fight for Sean, but Corey's probably going to fight Umar next, which again, it's not fair. I mean, the sport's not fair. Corey goes out there and washes Cheeto and has to fight Umar now, while Cheeto gets a title shot, gets gifted one. So
the funny thing is Corey even calling out Umar, so he doesn't really give a shit. He's like, let's fight Umar. Umar's like, yeah, sure, why not?
I know. I saw. So I think that's going to happen. I still think it's going to be like, I know they're saying International Fight Week, but I think it makes more sense as main event for the Saudi Arabia card or Abu Dhabi. That's what I think. That fight needs to be 5 rounds.
It's definitely either in Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi.
It'll be a 5-round fight night. Exactly. All right, let's get some comments, guys. Thanks for analysis. He had MEP and Blaze. Good job. But I had Blaze there. After seeing how good his distance management and speed, can he beat Marab? I think he can beat Marab. I'm not picking him right now. I wouldn't go out here and pick him, but I think people are sleeping on Sean O'Malley. Like they've slept on him a lot in his career. The guy's a good fighter, man. Give him his credit. He's really good. He's really fucking good, Marcel. O'Malley's saying is an amazing fight. Go ahead. Sorry, please go ahead.
He definitely is, man. But he has to fight the top contenders to be like, listen, this fight didn't make sense at all. And there's no disrespect to Vera here, because I was happy for Vera. He got his title shot, but it shouldn't happen, That's the thing. And that's
I get what you're saying, but like I feel like we're not giving him the credit because he knocked out Sterling, who was the champion, and he beat Peter Yan on paper. Again, that fight could have gone either way, man.
I give him credit for the Sterling fight. That was a good knockout. I'm not going to give him credit for the Yan fight because he didn't win against Yan. It's that simple. Ask 100 people in the room who won, and even listen, let them watch. Ask the fighters actually who they think won. Everybody says Yan won. Only his family members and the hardcore O'Malley fans think he won. Again,
I'm going to put that hat on right now that the Devil's Advocate hat. I'm just looking at the stats. I mean, he outlanded him in that fight. So I mean, if it's damage based, then you could see why the judges went that way. But again, Marcel, you have 3 different judges that day. 2 of them could have went easily Peter Yan. I think I scored it for Yan too. I'm pretty sure I did. I just didn't think it was that big of a robbery compared to a lot of people. That's all,
I don't say it's a robbery, but it was like really convenient for the UFC. Like, a lot of those close fights are convenient for the UFC somehow.
Very convenient. Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon.
Exactly. Yeah, it's another one.
Let's get some more comments, guys. UFC gaming winnable fight. Yeah, I agree. Sean and Ilya both defended belt 3 times. I think it would be massive. Yeah, I mean, it'd be huge. But again, are these guys going to stick around that long? I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to get in and get out, get their money and get out. What's up, Joe? Glad to have you here, man. I think Marab knows he'll destroy him, and he isn't ready for 145. Or I think he knows Marab will destroy him. He isn't ready for 145. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. What's up, FG? Go ahead.
The Vic, I know I want to know who that one guy is who scored it for O'Malley.
Yeah, again, like I think what Marcel said, I mean, I think probably 9 to 10 people would say Jan won the fight, But again, the only thing that matters is the judges. You know what, though? I think, like, again, we have to move on from that. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but the problem is he got a title shot out of that. You know what I mean?
And he won the title, and he knocked the champion out. So
yeah, absolutely. Of course.
Scrub,
but still, you shouldn't get a title shot out of that.
No.
No.
And Cheeto didn't. Okay, I think Cheeto's title shot's way worse, though. I think it's
also, yeah.
He just lost. I thought he lost to Munoz. I thought he definitely lost to Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah, I thought the Munoz fight was super close, man, and I could have gone Munoz's way. Yeah.
Do you want to see Vera fight Peter Yan? Is that the fight you want to see next?
Right now, yeah. I mean, makes the most sense pretty much, because Piotr has fought a lot of guys in the top already, and he hasn't fought Cheeto yet. And it's a fight they both wanted for a long time. I think even Piotr Yan called him out after the fight, during the O'Malley Vera fight, he was like, "Give me Cheeto next." Do it, man. Why not?
I think it's a good fight, and it's a 5-round main event too. Yeah. They could do that one in Abu Dhabi, I guess. I mean, they could. I don't know, or maybe just in Vegas. They could just do it there. I don't know. I think that's a good fight. They were robbed against Sandhagen. I mean, that was I know you're joking, but that was horrible. What would your betting odds be for O'Malley Yan rematch? Ooh, I mean, it's got to be close to like a pick'em, Marcus. I think it would be close to a pick'em. I mean, Yan looked pretty good in this fight, but I'll tell you right now. I mean, I wish this fight was 5 rounds with Song. We'll talk about him in a second. Yeah. All right. Let's. Anything else you want to say about the main event, or you want to move on?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's move on to the co-main event. One of my better predictions in a while. I mean, I like I said, Marcel, it's just been a really good year of predictions for me. I feel really confident in my ability to break down the fights right now. I know I got some of those main events wrong, guys, but like I feel really good about my ability to break down fights, and this one I broke down perfectly. Just the 5 rounds, just the experience in a fight that went deeper, and it was only second round. I get that, but like. Benoit Saint Denis just really didn't pace himself here. And again, Marcel, like I really look back at that fight with Elijah Lesky de Santos, where he just got pieced apart. And I think a lot of people forgot about that fight. And stepping up from Vola, Moises, Bonfim, these guys to fight Poirier, y'all must have forgotten. I mean, Poirier is still one of the best in the world. He looked amazing. Obviously, after he got beat up pretty good in the first round, but second round looked amazing with that knockout. Gets the I guess they got fight of the night actually. I kind of feel the UFC should give him a double bonus, Marcel. I don't know about you. I think he should have got 2 bonuses personally. But fight of the night. I mean, clearly it was the most exciting fight in the card. Benoit's got to learn from this. He has to pace himself better because he did hurt Dustin a lot in this fight, but he just didn't pace himself well. And Dustin obviously, gets a huge knockout win. It kind of saves his career in a way. And Marcel, now they're talking about fucking a title shot for this guy, which I don't agree with. And this is someone who picked him and bet him, right? Like, I just don't agree with him getting a title shot. He just lost a cage, just got head kick knocked out. That would be such a slap in the face to Justin. But again, it's not past the UFC to do this. Dustin is a legend. It is a fresh fight with Islam. And Islam's on Twitter now saying he wants to fight Dustin. You know why, Marcel? Because honestly, that's an easy fight for him. Let's be completely honest. And I love Dustin, but Islam, that is a bad match. That's a brutal matchup. Islam should be like minus 400 in that fight. Islam would probably submit Dustin Poirier. Like he's way better than Benoit Saint Denis, who had him in tons of trouble. Dustin has a puncher's chance, but that's a terrible fight for him. I was happy to see Dustin win this fight. I love the guy. I thought he showed up in fucking great shape for this fight. When I saw the weigh-in, I felt even better with my pick. I'm like, damn, this guy really trained well for this fight. I think Benoit's a stud too. I think he's a guy that's clearly a top 10 fighter. But again, this was just too big of a step up, Marcel, I think. Too big of a step up too soon. So I don't know what you want to say about this fight. I'll give you your thoughts on it. Go ahead.
So, sounds like excuses, but I kind of believe him, man, what Benoit say on his Instagram and Twitter.
What do you say?
He's like, I only had gas for 5 minutes, he said. He's like, I couldn't go any further. I'm full in antibiotics. The last couple of weeks with the how do you say that, with the staph infection he had. Yeah, and he said I went full blast in the first round, and he's like, after the first round I was done. He's like, I was completely out of it, So I kind of believe him with that. At the same time, I don't, and that takes away from Dustin, which I don't want to do, because I think he did amazing. He came back. The first round was really dominant by Benoit, but he came back amazing in the second round. He tagged him. Then he landed another shot and he knocked him out. It was a beautiful knockout. And yeah, I mean, Dustin proved that he still belongs with the elite of the division, I think. Great win. I agree with you. Shouldn't get a title shot out of it. Definitely not, because Dana has said that Charles Arman winner gets to fight Islam next. Gaethje is fighting Max Holloway. The thing is, they are both on the same card. So if Gaethje gets a amazing win on Holloway, I don't say it's happening, but imagine he gets an amazing knockout win over Holloway. And let's say or Charles Arman do an amazing win against each other. Then you have two contenders there. And Dustin is still behind that, in my opinion. So what I think is, like, it depends on what happens with Justin and with Max. Listen, if Max wins against Justin, you have less a problem. You can do the winner of Charles Arman against Islam, and you can do the loser of Charles Arman against Poirier, in my opinion. But I don't think Poirier is yet there, the title shot, definitely because he lost to Justin, in August last year, or in July, or whenever that was. Yeah. So I don't know what I should do. There are other options as well on the top of the division, I think. But a title shot is not there right yet, in my opinion. But you never know what the UFC is going to do, If Dustin is like, I want it, and Islam is like, I want it, and the timeline is there, and they need the title fight, you never know what they're going to do. So,
I wouldn't put it past them, especially because Islam seems to want this fight. Ali Abdelaziz, who probably tweets for Islam, wants to fight. I haven't been on fire. I sure have been. Crazy. That was last 200 card. I know it's really crazy, man. Would have been easier to stop pulling the guillotine. And he says he's never going to stop pulling the gilly. But yeah, I mean, there's someone who picked him. I'm like, why is he pulling gilly every 5 minutes? It's a crazy thing. Dustin's better position to fight Islam next over Gaethje knocked him out. It's not crazy because it's probably what's going to happen, to be honest with you, Marcel.
It's actually funny because probably both Gaethje and Max are now like, fuck, we shouldn't have signed for this BMF title, because Max probably would have fought Poirier next.
Yeah, they both got fucked almost in a way. It's crazy, right? I mean, they still could get the title shot, but I have a feeling it's going to be Dustin, and the winner of Arman and Charles is going to fight the winner of Gaethje and Holloway, probably. Dustin and Fiziev. I mean, it's a good fight, but he's not going to fight Fiziev. And Fiziev's injured anyway, so he's not going to fight him. Do not see Carlos Gaethje and Arman will be healthy to make a quick turn on the fight, and Gene Poirier will be healthy, and Poirier is almost big for money. Yeah, I mean, I think it could headline or co-headline that card.
I'm not really interested in that fight, to be really honest, man. I don't mind if they do it, but it's like you said, man. I think Islam is a massive favorite to win that fight.
Yeah, he would be. He would be like -400 or something like that. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Michael Page defeats Kevin Holland. It was kind of, I don't know. I didn't think this fight was that great. Page, we talked about last week. The more I was thinking about this fight, I'm like, he could probably just like make it boring and kind of outpoint him, and that's what he did. Second round, Holland had his neck for like a brief second, and that was pretty much it. Holland looked really frustrated in this fight. I did like Page's entrance personally. I thought it was cool with the Undertaker thing. I know some people didn't like it. I thought it was cool. Holland just kind of gave up in this fight a little bit more, so it wasn't going his way, and he just kind of quit a little bit on himself. I think it was a winnable fight. It was 1-1 heading round 3, and he just didn't do anything in the third round. So judges got it right. Michael, actually, I got to give the judges credit. They got every decision right in this card. They got every decision right, which I was worried about in Florida, but I didn't disagree with anything they did. So anything quickly on this fight?
Bro, what the fuck was Holland doing? What was he doing? After the first round, he got pretty much pieced up in the first round. Second round, he finally got him down. And he controlled him there, man. And he landed elbows and punches on the ground. And it was like, good, Now he has him to the ground. He takes him down in the third round as well. He takes some shots before he takes him down. He didn't, This was like, listen, man, I like Kevin Holland. He's great. But this for me is like the proof that Kevin Holland will never be a champion in the UFC, because his fight IQ isn't as good as I thought it was, I thought that he would be, and who am I to talk actually, but I thought he would be smart enough, to, if you cannot strike with MVP, take him the fuck down, because MVP sucks on the ground, he absolutely sucks on the ground. He's a fun fighter, stand up, he's super flashy, but he fucking sucks on the ground, So I was surprised that Kevin Holland went with the striking in the third round after he clearly got the better of him on the ground in the second round, And yeah, MVP won the fight, and now people are like, "Oh, we should match him up against Stephen Thompson." Fuck out of here! You
Why?
know
That's a good fight.
why? Because
it's
again,
too, well, you think it's gonna be boring?
no,
Is that what you think?
no, we're gonna give him again a striker. Fuck off with that. You know, you come to the UFC, give him a fucking wrestler. You know, I'm done with this bullshit.
I don't think they will. I think they're going to give him like Jeff Neal or something.
Of course, they're not going to do that. Yeah. You know, of course they're not going to do that. But you come to he's been protected by Bellator for even like for 10 years. He's been protected. You know,
sure.
And now he comes to the UFC. We protect him again with giving him only strikers. Now fight a fucking wrestler. I'm fucking done with it. You know, you're at the upper echelon of the sport, you know, you should fight wrestlers as well. You should fight Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys as well, you know,
sure.
And not only strikers. And they're going to give him fucking Wonder Boy, I'm sure, because Wonder Boy will take that fight because Wonder Boy also wants to fight strikers, you know, and he wants to, they're going to give him that. And then they're going to slowly build him up to that top 5, you know, and then it's like a 50-50 chance. If he beats somebody in the top 5, he gets a title shot. I fucking hate that shit, you know.
I know that Thompson told like James Lynch that he didn't want to fight him, but I think that, you know, money talks, and that's the fight they'll make, I think. So the Gaethje Holloway, I mean, they just announced him. They announced the card. It's on the card. Gaethje and Holloway. Yeah. Holland's very low IQ. I don't feel sorry for anyone but Hall after we saw Thompson. I mean, Marcus, you've called it since the beginning. This fight IQ was questionable. Let's go. Marcel couldn't agree. Damon said in the post fight we have to match up MVP carefully. Yeah, because they want to give him strikers, like Marcel said. Like, they wouldn't give him Sean Brady, right? They wouldn't give him
exactly.
They might give him Gilbert Burns, maybe, because Burns just got knocked out. Maybe we'll talk about that in a second.
Listen, Adam, I don't mind. Listen, I don't mind him fighting strikers, but it shouldn't be like tailor made for him to only fight strikers in the UFC and to rise up in the division. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's going to be ranked after tomorrow, you know, if he's not ranked and he only fights strikers, I don't care. You know, but when you're in the top 15, you shouldn't have to handpick your opponents. And we all know the UFC is going to do that because they like the style, they like the flashiness, and they know if they're going to match him up with a wrestler or a Sean Brady who is really good on the ground, Sean Brady's going to take him down and he's going to hold him down and he's going to win the decision, or he's going to submit him. You know what I mean? Yep. So, and you know, I don't like that, and that's also why I always are against those UFC hype trains and that kind of stuff, because the UFC always does that, you know, and Bellator did that as well. You know, they're protecting certain fighters, and fighters shouldn't be protected, in my opinion. You know, definitely not at the highest level of the sport. You know. Yeah,
no, these aren't prospects. I mean, Michael's 36, so
listen. With Raul Rosas Jr., dude is 19 or 18 now. I understand that. That's different. Yeah. Michael Van Page is fucking 35 or 36. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, give him all the Terrence Mitchells in the world, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go on to the next fight. Jack Della Maddalena. I think we both called him, right? I'm pretty sure we did. I had him by knockout, and it was sketchy. It was a close fight, but
how you scored?
1-1 heading in the third.
Yeah, me too. What the fuck, those judges?
Oh yeah, the judges, 2 of them had a 2-0 Burns. I can't believe it. Unbelievable, man. And then if it went to the scorecards, it would have been a split decision for Burns. That's crazy to me. He needed to get a finish and got it, man. I mean, Jack's a special fighter. You know, I think he's one of the better prospects. Obviously, he got taken down 7 times. The takedown defense sucks. That's the problem, right? I mean, we saw against Basil Hafez. He got taken down, 3 times in that fight, but 7 times in this fight. But again, fought all the positions, got back up every time, and in the third round, exploded with that knee and then knocked out Burns. And Burns, man, he wasn't even getting up. The referee fucked him in this fight. It was a Big Dan. Yeah, Big Dan. Late stoppage, right?
Very late. Yeah.
I think Jack's great, though, man. 7 straight wins in the UFC. I mean, that's pretty amazing. 5 bonuses. And he's beaten, a top 10 guy now. And they called out Shavkat Rakhmonov. I mean, you have to respect it, right? He calls out the toughest guy in the division. I mean, that's fucking – like, no one's calling out Shavkat. Doesn't seem like Leon Edwards wants to fight him too much. And this guy goes and says, I want to fight Shavkat. That being said, Shavkat beats him. I mean, Shavkat submits him probably, I would assume. But I respect the fuck out of him for saying it, man. I mean, I think even Shavkat said that. He said, hey, I respect this, the call out. I don't think they do that fight. I mean, but they might, because
they'd be stupid not to.
They might, because Bilal should honestly get the title shot, right? He should.
Adam, they'd be stupid not to. You know, they have
you
nobody.
Get a guaranteed contender, right? Like it's going to be good. So.
They have nobody to fight Shavkat. Nobody wants to fight Shavkat. Let's be honest. You know,
no,
only the guys who are really down or under Shavkat likely want to fight him because they have the chance to get up to him.
Yeah.
But Jack has been the guy even before the fight who was saying, "If I win this fight, I want to fight Shavkat."
And he just beat number 4 in Shavkat's so it makes sense, right? And then
give him the fight, and you go Jack is pretty much the Corey Sandhagen of the welterweight division. He picks the most difficult challenges.
Yeah,
you know?
I love it, man. I love guys like this. I mean, and you know, again, Shavkat would be like, you know, a big favorite in that fight, like 3-1 favorite probably or something like that. But you know, Jack's got to punch his chance, and he does, right? So
for sure. And the winner of that fight can fight the winner of Leon against Bilal.
They could probably do in the same card, do it as the co-main event. You could even do it for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And I respect the call a lot more than like Ian Gary calling a Colby Covington, a guy who's washed up. I mean, honestly, I respect this call way more. I don't blame Ian for calling a Colby, but you're calling a guy who's washed up, like basically. This guy's calling out literally the best guy in the division right now, aside from the champ, probably. Actually, Shavkat would be favored against Leon Edwards, and he would be. Don't you think?
Also,
he'd be favored against anyone in the division. Yeah,
but I also look at the way Jack came up in the division and look at the way Ian Gary came up in the division in a totally different way. You know, I respect Jack so much more. You know, he's like a super quiet guy, a hardworking guy. Ian is a hardworking guy as well. Don't get me wrong, but he's a very mouthy dude. You know what I mean? And Jack is just like a quiet guy, and he works hard. And listen, man, if he didn't finish Gilbert, he would have lost. You know, let's be honest, he would have lost. But still, he finished him. Yeah, and it was a fun fight. It was a good fight. So
it was a great fight, and he needed this win too because the last 2 fights, I mean, they weren't convincing, right? They were split decisions. I mean, we thought he won those fights, but like you know, it wasn't convincing. The guy's good though, man. I really like him. So yeah, I think they should do that fight. And then opening up the main card, we had Piotr Jan defeating Song Yadong. Again, a close fight, 1-1. I thought heading round 3, and then. You know, it was close, man, but then he takes him down with about a minute left, grinds him out, and wins the fight. So Piotr, great win for him, obviously, against the tough guy Song Yadong. Snaps the 3-fight losing skid. And we already mentioned him earlier. I think Chito Vera makes sense, right?
Bro, I mean, listen, I don't want to be biased or whatever, and I really like Song, but I was so happy to see Jan win. You know, a guy that good shouldn't be on a 3-fight losing skid, and definitely not on a 4-fight losing skid.
Imagine he lost the 3rd round and he lost 4 straight fights.
Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. And dude is so good. I think he's one of the best in the division.
Oh, yeah.
And but I was really scared after the 1st round because I was like, he really reacted to every feint Song was throwing at him. You know, he was like really hesitant with I think it came through by Marab, you know, by shooting takedowns. He was like really like hesitant, and he didn't look good in the 1st round. I was like, if he goes I actually texted somebody, it's like, I've never seen Jan like this, you know. It's like, what's up with him? And then he finally picked it up, I think like 2 minutes into the 2nd round. And the 3rd round was his, and he even took him down, and then he controlled him more on the ground for the last minute. Yeah, man, fun fight. Song Yadong is also a dog. You know, I faded Song Yadong for a long time, man. I was always like, he's kind of overrated, you know. But he really convinced me in the Ricky Simone fight that I should shut up, you know. And he's a good. I think he comes far in the division as well, and he's still super young, man. Song Yadong.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, he's still like 26, I think, right? He's a good fighter, no doubt about it.
Definitely.
I'm just looking at the rankings. Well, I mean, listen, I like Corey Sandhagen a lot, but Jan should not be ranked below him. It doesn't make sense. He beat him, and he only lost to the guys ranked above Corey. That's just stupid. These rankings are so bad. They're just bad. All right, let's get back to the card. I mean, this was a good pick by me, too. He ended up closing an underdog, too. Curtis Blades knocks out Jailton Almeida. And I stand by it, man. The guy's so one-dimensional, Marcel Jailton. Yeah. He has nothing besides the takedown, and he did like nothing other than hold him down in the 1st round. 9 takedowns. I mean, that's impressive, no doubt. But Curtis, again, you know, really knocks him out with those hammer fists in the 2nd round. What did you think about this one, man?
Still, man, impressive to dominate Curtis Blades in the 1st round like that, you know. But the thing is, like, you got to do more, you know. And he shot for the takedown again. Sakurada, I think he got uppercut into his chin. And then I think he's keep trying to get the takedown, and Curtis could land those hammer fists, and he did that perfectly. I think this is the time for Jailton to rethink his decision to stay at heavyweight and maybe go back to light heavyweight, you know, because he was good he was dominating the guys, but now you're like at to the upper echelon of the division,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
this is gonna get more difficult. You know,
Yep.
imagine him fighting Tom Aspinall would have been even more
He
difficult.
gets knocked out in the first
Yeah,
minute of the fight. Yeah,
absolutely. So here is the thing. I think he has to reconsider and think go to 205 because at 205 he's like he's a lot bigger, you know. He's always undersized at 265,
Yeah.
you know. 205, I think it's perfect. He can make 205, go to 205. And for Curtis Blades, I'm super happy for him. You know, he was far away again from the title shot after his loss to Pavlovich, you know. And now because he has that that kind of lucky win against Aspinall, you know, he probably gets the rematch for the interim title. And I'm happy for him. And he's likely one of the best heavyweights in the UFC who has never fought for a title or whatever, you know. So
he's good, man. I'm looking at his record: 13-4 and 1 no contest to the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a great record, and most of the wins were by knockout.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, and he's a great wrestler. And listen, I picked him against Aspinall the first time. I got lucky there. I would pick Aspinall in the rematch. You picked Curtis the first time too?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got lucky. I mean, let's be honest. But I mean, in the rematch, it's still an interesting fight. I mean, it is. I think they do that as the main event in Manchester. What do you think? Do you think so?
Yeah, but I think that's a fight night, another pay-per-view. So
it's not? Oh, okay.
No.
All right. Well,
so,
I mean, it's an interim title. That's heavyweight title, though. I wouldn't do it. Yeah. It would have to be a pay-per-view card, right? It has to be, I think.
I think they probably maybe
shot, though.
Yeah, I think they do it at International Fight Week somewhere. I don't think it's a main event, but I think they do it International Fight Week.
Well, since interim, it could be co-main or third fight.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a great fight. I think it makes sense. The rematch makes sense. What's up, Glenbot? How's it going, man? Yeah, happy Curtis. I mean, it was a great finish. And again, Jailton Marcel, just, you know, the fight with Lewis just really turned me off of the guy. I mean, he's definitely a good fighter, but like super one-dimensional. You know, he landed one strike in this fight. One strike. He had 4.5 minutes of control, 9 takedowns, and 1 strike.
You know what I really feel about Almeida? I like him a lot, by the way, but I feel like that he's really like hesitant about his striking, you know, and I think he's really afraid to get hit. You know,
he's been knocked out a couple times now, right?
Yeah, but he's afraid to get hit. You saw how he fought against Lewis, you know.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to get hit, and that's why he fights like that.
Do you think he got fraud checked?
I don't want to say that, man, because the thing is, like, fraud check for me is when you lose to a guy who isn't that great, you know. And I think Curtis Blades is actually elite, you know. Yeah, so I wouldn't say fraud. You know, I thought when Abus lost to Sean Strickland, he was fraud checked.
Oh, that's a great example.
But yeah, Sean Strickland happened to become the champion.
Oh,
so I mean,
actually,
so it's really difficult. I was actually thinking yesterday about what's a real fraud check, because people were saying like Benoit and Denis got fraud check. I disagree with that.
I don't know about that.
Dustin
that one I don't know about.
You know, but you got to think about somebody who got a loss against somebody who he should have lost to and isn't that great. You know what I mean? Well, you thought like this is maybe a good fight, but it wasn't. Think about it, because it's hard. You know,
it's kind of hard. I mean, but then there's no definition of it really, too. So it's kind of a tough one.
A definition for me from fraud check is when you get knocked out by somebody, you know, who isn't actually that amazing, you know. So who got, maybe we could say Ismael Bonfim might be fraud check.
Yeah, that's a great example actually when you think about it. But again, Benoit's good too. So
yeah, true. So it's
tough. It is tough. It's tough. You'd have to like look at
maybe Gabriel Bonfim against Nicholas Dalby.
Oh yeah, he did lose that fight. Fuck. Well, if you faded both those Dalby or the Bonfim brothers, man, fuck, you would have made some good money. Yeah, Joe Pyfer's an interesting one too. But again, he won the first 2 rounds and he gassed out. He never had a 5-round fight. So, Marcus, me and you were both on this for a while. I mean, he should be at 205. I mean, let's just be honest. I think at 205, you know, he could do a lot of damage with the wrestling. But again, you know, chin is a huge question mark on this guy. Man, the way he got reacted to getting hit, he's covering up like this. Like, it was not good to see. And I understand, I don't want to get blades blasting me in the head like this. That would suck. But I'm just saying, like, it was just, to me, Marcel, it was kind of a carryover of that Derek Lewis fight where I said, this guy's super one-dimensional. I called it. I saw it. And I saw it again here. I mean, he can get a takedown, but if he doesn't submit you or finish you in the first round, he's kind of not the best fighter after that. So, I mean, I still like Jailton, but I think at 205 he's a better fighter. So,
well, let's be honest. You were like, after the first round, you're like, "Fuck, dude, he's gonna dominate like the wrestling."
No, I still thought it was an interesting fight just because Curtis, you know, he's got. I honestly, Marcel, I think Curtis Blades is probably the best heavyweight who's never won the title in the UFC.
I agree.
I mean, he probably is. Like, if you look at his record, if you look at the wins he has, He's maybe the best heavyweight ever to not win a UFC title. It's possible. It's very possible.
That's super unlucky, in certain fights, So yeah.
I mean, the Derek Lewis fight, he was winning and then he got caught by the uppercut.
Yeah,
so I mean,
exactly.
it happens, right? Derek Lewis is also a fun fighter to watch. Anyways, let's the last fight was bad with Jailton. No, Jailton's not the most exciting guy to watch. I'll just say that. But let's go to the next fight here. Macy Barber defeats Caitlin Sermonera decision. This fight was kind of boring to me. I don't know. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, Macy fought it smart, I think, because we all know how Caitlin normally wins the fight. And I think Macy did well. She needed this win, in my opinion, to get higher in the division, and she did it. So I mean, Caitlin Chookagian is not a really how do you say that, entertaining fighter, but she knows how to win fights. You know what I mean? So and Macy won against her, so good for her. And looking forward to next. Not the best fight in the card. Yeah.
9-2 in the UFC. I mean, that's a great record, and she's only 25.
She's super young.
She's good. I mean, she's definitely a good fighter. I think she probably needs one more win or two more wins to get the title shot, but she's close. Because again, she fought Grosso, was 29-28 fight. It was close. It was a close fight. Yeah. Probably needs to get one or two more wins. I still think, that again, this is the problem with the timing because they just announced Ultimate Fighter. It's Valentina against Grosso in the trilogy. And that fight's, I'm guessing, I know Valentina said today she doesn't want to fight the Sphere, but I think it'll be at the Sphere. So that's in September. So they're going to sit on a full year, which would mean that the winner of Blanchfield and Furo probably has to fight again. They'll probably fight the winner of this fight, and they probably shouldn't. They probably shouldn't have to fight Macy.
Did you hear what Shevchenko said today?
She just said she didn't want to fight the Sphere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't. I don't understand. I don't know. They need to find someone to do tough, but I'm just not interested in them being the coaches. Really,
I also don't understand it, man. I would have picked Ezra Adesanya against Ricky Duplessis. I think that
made more sense, especially
to be really honest,
injured too, right?
Get out of here with tough. We don't really need that.
Yeah. Although I want to say, there's a guy from Toronto, Tom Theocaris. He's a Toronto guy. He's on the card. I have some friends that trained with him. So when I saw him, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I know who this guy is. So that's the only redeeming thing for me. Although he's not amazing. He doesn't have a great record. So
if you could choose him on tough or him on Dana White Contender Series,
rather see him on Contender. But they have to get some people to go on tough. I think they should have killed the show off a few years ago. It's not that intriguing anymore.
They should have killed it off when they started the Contender Series.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I know they found a few good prospects. Like Brian Battle's pretty good prospect. There's a few other guys, but it's just kind of a redundant show now. So let's go back to the card. Mateusz Gamrot. Again, I thought this was the easiest pick in the card, though he got dropped in the first round against Rafael Dos Anjos. I'm like, holy shit, that's not good. But eventually just grinds it away, 11 takedowns. But again, boring performance by him. I don't think it gets him a title shot at all, and in fact, it probably pushes him even farther away, because Dustin has elevated himself now, and Arman and Oliveira are above him, and Gaethje's above him, so he's going to have to fight at least probably two more times, I would say, to get a title shot.
I would rebook him against Fiziev if Fiziev is healthy.
Yeah, I mean, that was an injury fight. The other fight would be a rematch with Dariush for 5 rounds this time. I think that would be interesting as well. It's too bad Chandler's not available because that would be a good fight. Those are the fights I'm looking at right now. He's kind of a tough guy to book because even this fight, they had to fight. He had to fight way down in the rankings, for this fight.
Chandler is unavailable. Yeah.
Chandler unavailable. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I think the Dariush rematch is interesting. Is Dariush booked right now or no?
No, he's not. But do that for 3 rounds. I don't really need to see that for 5 rounds. No.
Grinding rematch.
We can do 3.
Yeah, Strickland versus Gary or Cole. Actually, Strickland would have been great on tough, to be honest. Colby and Gary too. I kind of feel like Marcus is right because I hate fucking the titles being held up by the show. I hate it. I've always hated it. And the truth is, guys, how many times throughout the history of that show have the champions, not even ended up fighting? The coaches never fought. I mean, Connor and Chandler, what is it, 2 years ago now? They coached.
But what I've heard behind the scenes is that both Alexa and Valentina cannot fight earlier because they're still injured. So that's
both still injured too. Okay, well, I guess that makes sense then. All right. Felipe Lins defeats Jan Cutelaba by decision. This is actually a pretty good fight, I thought.
We fucked up. We fucked up.
We fucked up on this pick too. I mean, Cutelaba looked pretty bad. I think he's getting cut, right? Would you think so?
I mean, besides his amazing face paint during the weigh-ins, I don't think he looked great. Listen, man, Ion Cutelaba is super inconsistent, so you actually never really know, And Felipe Lins, I don't think it was spectacular by any means, but it was good on him. He finally seems to have find his way in the UFC.
I thought he looked good. And he looked good in this division. Like, there's no doubt about it. I'll be honest. You know what? You want a fraud check? When he came over from PFL and he lost to Arlovsky and Bozer, he got fraud checked, didn't he? I thought so. And now he's really turned it around. So I think your mic's off, by the way. Jan Kutelov have a 6-9-1 draw in the UFC. I think Jan's being cut, Marcel.
You hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
I think Jan's being cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michel Pereira defeats Michal Oleksiejczuk. I got it right. I say it properly now. By submission. He looked amazing too. I mean, again, you got talk about guys found his weight class. Michel, 7 straight wins now, 2 straight at middleweight, 3 straight bonuses. His only losses in the UFC are Diego Sanchez in a fight. He was dominating until he threw an illegal knee, and Diego asked the referee if I can't continue as a DQ, and they're like, yes. So he's like, I'm not going to fight anymore. And then the other loss was against Tristan Connolly, where he kept doing backflips and gassed himself out. This guy's good, man. He's a good fucking fighter. He needs to get a ranked opponent next, right? Like you'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Chris Curtis.
I think I tweeted like he's a legit contender. I think even
he's one of the more underrated fighters in the UFC right now. I think people aren't really sleeping on him still. Go ahead.
I gotta be honest. I was like 50-50 on this fight, but you really convinced me actually to go with Pereira. So thank you for that.
Man. That's why.
Yeah, he really was. He was like he hurt him to the body, and then he climbed on his back and he choked him out. It was like very good, very. Listen, man, Oleksiejczuk isn't an easy guy to finish. He's really good as well. So
and he's so fast in this division too, man. Like he's not cutting all that weight.
I think Pereira made a big mistake to stay so long at 170, man.
Yeah,
185 is perfect. Give him somebody in top 50.
You know when he's supposed to fight Wonderboy last year, how much weight did he say he was cutting? Didn't he say like 30-something pounds or something? 40 pounds? Yeah. Wasn't it something like that?
It was a lot.
Let's see what he said, because it was like I think 40 pounds he was cutting. Move. Let me see what he says here. I've been cutting weights. Can't make 170. It doesn't say how much weight he was cutting, but yeah, I would imagine he was cutting from like 210 or something like that. I mean, he's a big dude, right? So yeah. Look, he got a bonus, by the way. All the finishers got bonuses. So I mean, you were happy that Dana actually opened the pocketbooks up a little bit, anyways, right?
Of course.
Michel's definitely a dark horse, even at 185. He is really good, man. Curtis and Pereira makes sense though. I think Pereira's like 13 or 14. Yeah, he's good. If you fought Wonder Boy, who you guys gonna pick? I think we both picked Wonder Boy. I think I'm pretty sure. Because Wonder Boy's a harder fight because he's such a good striker, and he's tougher than Oleksiejczuk, obviously, who got hit to the body here.
Pereira at 170 was not as good as Pereira at 185, to be really honest.
I mean, what he did to Petrosky and now this guy, the last 2 wins are in what, minute 6, a minute 1. Yeah,
very impressive.
Good. Impressive. Robelis to Spain, 18 seconds knocks out Josh Parisian. I mean, Josh Parisian he's getting cut. He's 2-5 in the UFC. He's not that good, but I mean, this guy's a scary fucker, man.
Yeah, but listen, man. Parisian did everything what he didn't have to do. Robelis came after him. Robelis fell to the ground because he was out of balance.
Yeah.
And then Parisian was like, "Oh my God, I can run at him and I can knock him down." So he's running at them and he gets knocked down. I was like, "Dude, what are you doing? That's the only thing you shouldn't do there." You know, with somebody would reach like that. So it was a good win. I still think it was an early stoppage, although he was going to get finished anyways. So, I mean.
By the way, I want to tell you something right now. I'm looking at stats right now. There's 2 things I want to mention. So first off, they're saying it's 84-inch reach. He was saying 87. They kept saying longest reach, but 84 they're saying now, which would be John Jones's reach and Stefan Struve's reach, I believe. So it would tie the longest reach, not the longest. The other thing is they have a different birth date than Tapology. They're saying September 9th, and you guys have August 9th. So I don't know if you want to change. Robelis.
Let me see.
The only reason I'm bringing this up is because I was looking at his age, and I'm like, oh, this guy's a month before me. Now it's 4 days before me. So UFC stats is saying September 9th. You guys have August 9th. So does Sherdog. So does Wikipedia. So
we probably have it wrong.
I'm imagining it is September 9th, I would guess. But
we have I understand. They probably switched the day or the birth day and the birth month. Let me see. September 9th, right?
Yeah. What do you have?
Yeah, August 9th. I've changed it right now.
There you go. See, that's why we got Marcel on the podcast. How did Pereira lose to Tristan Connolly? He gassed himself out by doing backflips. It was really stupid. Oh yeah, Jones 84.5. That's right. Cuban's a beast. He sure is. Who are we matching up with next?
Some other guy on the in the bottom.
Also,
of the
like
division.
the bottom of the division right now. Let me take a look.
Probably the winner of Dantel Mays against Caio Machado.
You think so?
Yeah, why not? I mean, you can also do. Who else do we have there? Let me think. Waldo Cortez Acosta, although I think Waldo deserves a fight higher in the rankings. Let me think. Who else? Fill me in. I'm
looking right now. Austin Lane. I'm looking. Okay, these guys have fights booked. Let me see who doesn't have a fight booked. Everyone has a fight booked, really. Most people have fight books. Most people have a fight booked. Maybe that Thomas Peterson guy.
Yeah.
He just got knocked out. I mean,
or Jamal Pogues.
Who? Pogues. It could be Pogues. Pogues is tough too. Let me ask you a question. An honest question.
Yeah.
Who would be favored right now? Shamil Gaziev or Rebellis to Spain? Who would be favored?
Probably Rebellis, but I'm not sold at all.
I'm not either, but could they do that fight? Because I feel like
not
a fraud check.
Yeah.
You know what? He got fraud checked.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Would you see it? Would you want to see it?
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, the guy looks so bad that it's like, why not? Another guy, that Handy Adelwahab guy, that guy also doesn't have a fight book.
He comes back after. Yeah. Why not?
Beast Boy.
I think they rep by the same.
Oh man, they should do Rebellis versus Beast Boy. That would be sick, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do him against Huggy Bear, Chris Barnett. Yeah. That would be good. Yeah, but honestly, I don't mind against Shamil, and I would favor him against Shamil. I mean, I'm off the Shamil bandwagon, guys. I was only on for one fight, and I'm off already.
I saw some crazy Junior Tafa against Rebellis Spain.
They could. I mean, I think he just called out. Oh, he did call it Rebellis. He did call him out for Australia. You know what?
Yeah,
if he wants to fight him, why not?
I like it. You know, it's two strikers.
It's a good fight. It would be a striking fight, right? And Junior's a good striker. I mean, he is. Agree with Marcel's tweet about the number of empty seats early in the fight card. Every UFC had 10. I was in my seat 10 minutes before the first fight. Me too, Marcus. But it's not always like that.
You know how many actual fighters have retweeted that.
Yeah,
it's great. They're all in agreement. I didn't think that tweet would go that well. I think so many people retweeted that.
Asu Amabayev defeats CJ Vergara, who missed weight again, by the way. Not three straight, but he's missed weight 3 times in the UFC now. So, I mean, he's going to be forced to move up, I think.
I knew it. Yeah. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I had a feeling too. And it was 1 pound. He didn't really seem like he was going to try that hard to make it, which was weird. And they fined him 30% because when you keep missing, they find you heavier.
Yeah.
Asu looked pretty good. I mean, he didn't get the finish, but he had 9 takedowns, controlled how much time here? Like over 10 minutes? Yeah, 9.5 minutes. So it wasn't his best performance, obviously, but I mean, he looked good. So
I think they should match Asu with Sumudarji. I think that makes sense.
He destroys Su, though. He just takes him down.
But why is he still ranked, Su? I think Cody Durden also called him out today.
Saw that.
And rightly so. Cody Durden should be ranked instead of Su, in my opinion. Su has wins against guys who are not in the UFC anymore. So I don't know why. Asu, good fighter. Like him a lot. Good grappler, obviously. Striking, we haven't seen a lot yet, in my opinion. But we'll see next. I think he deserves to be fighting maybe somebody in the top 15. Hell, I was thinking like give him Charles Johnson, but Charles Johnson is already booked again. So
he's fighting. Who's he fighting?
Jake Hatley.
That's a fun fight. Yeah. And then opening the card up, this was an upset. I didn't pick this one. We got this one. I think we got it wrong, right? Both took Rose.
Yeah, but I was happy for her.
Yeah, I was happy for Joanne. I mean, she clearly won the fight. She split decision my ass. I mean, she definitely won the second and third round. She won that fight. Honestly, man, it was a close fight in the third round. That spinning back fist won her the fight. And
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a brutal spinning back fist. It ended her career with a win. Happy to see her get the win. I mean, JoJo's always, been a fan favorite. She kinda, I'll tell you right now, Marcel. To me, she was someone that should have fought for the belt, never did. Probably one of the better fighters, never to fight for the belt. But I think overall, man, 9-8 record is nothing to be ashamed of. But like, I still feel like she could have did more with her career. I don't know.
her ground game was just not good enough, you know, to
no.
to add up with top fighters in the division. And she was really like a top level girl at strawweight in the beginning, you know, when the division wasn't as developed as it is now, you know. But then she went also to flyweight, and yeah, she lost to better. I think she wasn't she supposed to fight for a title, and then lost to Jennifer Maia instead, and she never fought for a title. She was supposed to fight Shevchenko. Yeah, I mean, still, I always liked JoJo from the beginning. When I saw her fight, I always liked her, and I'm happy she got out with a win. And she avenged that loss to Marina Moroz early in his career.
And she's sticking around the sport. Her husband owns that gym, Syndicate MMA, so she'll be around the sport. She said she's going to coach. And, you know, someone did ask her, you know, would you ever fight again? She said no, but then they said, you know, what if you went to Scotland? She's like, well, you know, so I think if they ever went back, she could come out of retirement. You know, these MMA retirements never last. But and to be honest, I was kind of joking about it like earlier this week with someone. I was just like, well, you know, she's saying she retired, but she said after her last fight too. Like she's like, take me out of the rankings, I'm retired, and then it comes back. So out of 10, what would you give the card?
A 7.
Yeah, I think for me maybe an 8, but honestly, it looked like a 10 on paper. I don't think it played out that way. You know, it was a good card, but not like one of the best cards of all time, which it could have been. I will say too, I think, you know, I understand they can't all be 5-round fights, but I think, you know, Peter Yan and Song Yadong should have been a 5-round fight on another card. I think that would have been a better fight for 5 rounds because the other fights got closure. I think we saw the better fighter win in those fights, but in that fight, man, I know Peter Yan's the better fighter. He won the fight, but I'm just saying, like, it was a close decision. It would have been nice to see 2 extra rounds for that fight. That's all. So, before Marcus asks, I know he's going to ask because he's in the chat, whose stock went down the most on this card? Benoit, you think?
I think Vera as well, to be honest.
I think Holland too. Fuck.
Yeah, Holland too.
Because he's going to be out of the rankings. Also, you know what? Actually, Jailton Almeida. It's got to be Jailton. You know, all these guys. I mean, there's a lot of fighters that really had their stocks drop, I think, on this card. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys, by the way. I completely skipped one of the fights. I skipped the Kyler Phillips Pedro Munoz fight.
I didn't even
I know, there's so many fights. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, Kyler looked great. I mean, we've liked him for a long time on this podcast, right? We both liked him. And to be honest with you, he beat Pedro more convincingly than Cheeto did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he looked amazing. This is actually, I know he didn't finish the fight, Marcel, but I think it was his best performance. He's 6-1 in the UFC. He has a win over Song Yadong. The Rowley and Poirier fight, that should have been a draw. That was a clear 10-8 round in the first round. He gassed out. He's learned from that fight. It was 3 years ago. And Holly and Poirier, he's not even in the UFC anymore. Kyler Phillips is, I think he's top 15, right? I think he's
yes.
No, he's not actually.
He's not. Oh, then he comes in. Okay.
Yeah, Pedro's 13, so he's going to take over Pedro's spot. You know, I know someone was saying in the commentary, like, oh, Pedro's not going to be top 15. I think he will. They're going to bump Ricky Simone out of the top 15, I think. I would like to see him fight Jonathan Martinez, dude. I think that'd be a fun fight, man.
The problem with Phillips is that he doesn't fight regularly, and that's because he had those USADA suspensions twice, I think.
Yep. Once a year.
Once a year, yeah. So I think he's really good, but he has to fight more often, and he has to make. Yeah, at least he's not going to suspend it anymore by USADA because USADA is gone. But
I agree. Rob Font would be a good fight too for him.
I like it as well. I think he's really good.
Yeah, he's good, no doubt. Actually, fuck. I mean, he could fight Cheeto. He could fight him, but I think Cheeto will get bigger fights. I kind of feel like so. Here's a good question. What do you think about Bo Nickel being above Charles in the main card? Listen, Bo Nickel and Cody Bunder shouldn't be in that card. I did see Cody's tweet today. He's like, hey, guys, I just work for the company. Like, it's not his fault, but I mean, he's, you know, that fight should not, it's kind of disrespectful to the other champions. At the same time, I will say this, like, they're looking to the future. Bo Nickel's going to be the middleweight champion in a couple of years, so they're trying to build him up, put him, all their eyes on him, but it's disrespectful to have him on the card, don't you think, on the main card?
Of course. There are so many
I know you're pissed about it, but I'm not.
Listen, I'm not pissed about it, but I mean, I posted the card yesterday. You saw how many people that, like, 99% of the comments were about that fight being on the main card, you know, and rightly so, you know. There are former champions on the prelims and even on the early prelims, you know. So,
dude, I mean, I thought that last month they announced the card. I think it was 298, and it was like Cater and Sterling opened the card, and they had Yuri and Rakic, and I thought it was a 6-5 main card. I was like, oh, this makes sense. Then they changed it. I'm like, what the fuck? So It is what it is. Also, they added Macanio and Turner. Did you break that fight? Were you the one who broke
No,
the
no.
one,
Freak MMA, bro.
They broke the news. I mean, that's an amazing fight too, right? It's
Yeah.
rebooking, I think. It's supposed to be main event, right? So
Yeah,
the card's stacked. I can't wait to talk about that one next month. Quickly talk about the Nagano knockout. You saw that, obviously.
I think I told you, or I told somebody else that I was thinking that Joshua would win the fight, and for the simple reason that Fury, we all saw Fury and Ngannou, and Joshua definitely was not going to let that happen to him. You know, I was like, I think Joshua wins the fight. I didn't say he was going to knock him out or whatever, you know, but I was pretty much convinced that Joshua was going to win, and how he won, yeah, man, impressive, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's really quickly talk about the. Go ahead.
By the way, people who say Ngannou is stupid for doing the boxing, dude, he made $30 million in 2 fights. I mean,
I don't think you're stupid at all.
No,
Dana
of course
was
not.
saying that. Dana was talking a little bit of shit, obviously. Just really quickly, I wanted to get your thoughts on the PFL card. I to be honest with you, I forgot it was on at that time, and I just caught the last couple of fights. But I really want to quickly talk about the main event, guys. Just with Baki and Duambe, yeah, because Doumbé, you had a lot of like Sean Sheehan type accounts on Twitter just saying, "Oh, the rules say this, the rules say this," and it bothered me because this is not something that's in the rules. Quite frankly, it's something that got overlooked in the rules. I think it should be a clear no contest. I think Goddard was in such a rush to stop the fight because he thought maybe his toe was broken. It seemed like it, but he had fucking glass in his toe. You clearly saw it in the broadcast. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, he should have fought through it." And John Jones fought through a broken toe against Chael. I get that, but here's the other thing. Here's the other side of the coin. What if he did fight with it and then he fucking kicked Baki and it hit his eye? Remember when Katsungano fought Megan Anderson, kicked him in the eye? What if he kicked him in the eye and he sliced his eye open? He lost his eye. He had glass in the eye. What if he kicked him and he put his arm up and it sliced his fucking artery and he fucking started bleeding everywhere? Then what? So I think that people are not really thinking properly about this one. To me, Marcel, this is the most clear no contest you'll ever see overturned on the appeal. I mean, this is a clear overturn, I think. What do you think?
I don't know if they're going to overturn it, man. I mean, I have the word. I don't know, because there are no rules for it. I think that's the thing. They're really going to go by the rules always. So I don't know, man. Just rebook the fight and we good.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
And let's be honest, it wasn't a great fight.
No,
first round was for Baki. He took him down, and he pretty much controlled him when he took him down. Second round was for Doumbé, much better striking. Third round, I mean, like I said, man, with Doumbé, he's a fun striker, but I think when he fights the better guys, he's gonna crumble. That's what I really think. That's my
fair
opinion.
enough. I mean, I'm just go ahead.
Did you see that Grogua guy, which got knocked out? That's.
I mean, that all seemed fixed to me, man. I gotta be honest with you. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
He's a weird guy. He fought in the Netherlands over here as well, and he was actually winning the fight. He was like ground and pounding the guy, and he got frustrated that he didn't get to finish him, so he started to soccer kick him. So and he got DQ'd.
Yeah, he's up to a strange dude. Yeah, I know. By the way, this is interesting too. One of his cornering placed the glass. I mean, fuck, who knows? Like, where'd the glass come from? Probably not. But I'm just saying.
I mean,
what's to stop a cornerman from doing it though? If they don't see it on camera, what's to stop it?
Yeah, Molly McCann had replied on her PFL thing. She was like, "How do you can get glass on your food?" I was like, "Listen, if there's somebody somewhere in the arena drops like a bottle and she's like, there are no bottles.
There's no bottle. There shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be. But who knows? And you drop the bottle and some cornerman stepping on it. During the walkout, and it comes in the cage. Man. It's so weird. Everybody's walking in the cage.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and that's the thing. Like in MMA, in boxing, it's different because you're wearing shoes there when you fight, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have to worry about this. But in MMA, you do, and it's one of those things where, like you said, someone, there's so many people that are in the cage, and it's dirty on that mat, and they're supposed to clean the mats. Like, I don't think they did. Clearly, they didn't do a properly job. They did. I don't know. It's just one of those weird things. It's a weird thing, man. I just think there's no rule that covers it. I feel like it should be overturned to no contest because it's like a foreign object. Like, what's stopping someone throwing a fucking bottle in the thing? They're gonna keep fighting, like, stupid. What do you think Duambe would have done in UFC welterweight? I think he's interesting, but The takedown defense didn't look that good, but the striking's good. I don't know. It wasn't that good of a fight, really,
Yeah, I agree.
Glenn says Goddard's ego made it much worse. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just tough. Like, you can't take a timeout, but I think they can, too, at the same time. Because, I was talking to Aaron Bronstead, who, knows the rules pretty well. Equipment malfunctions, when the guy's like, hey, my tape is hanging off, they stop it. Or if, like, the woman's bra is hanging down, sometimes they stop it, right, to fix it. Or the cup is, moved, they'll fix it. Why can't they say, like, hey, I got a piece of glass in my foot, let's pull it out? I don't know. It's weird to me. I think it's a shitty way to lose.
I agree.
It says TKO Splinter on Tapology, doesn't it? Does it not?
I haven't do it, so I don't know, but probably.
Who did it? What's his name? What's the guy's name?
Al?
Steven?
Or Steve, yeah.
Splinter in foot. Toe injury, splinter in foot. What does Sherdog have? Let me see what Sherdog says. Sherdog says TKO toe injury. I mean, I guess it's a toe injury, but
I gotta tell you this one, man. I was at a Belgian event. A couple of years ago, and those two guys were fighting, and one of the coaches had jeans on, and you're not allowed to have jeans on as a coach. You have to wear sportswear or whatever. So the coach was coaching. So the ref was like, "Hey, dude, you can't coach." And the coach is like, "Why can't I coach? You have jeans on. You cannot coach." So, but the guy kept coaching, and the ref was like, "Listen, if you keep coaching, I'm going to disqualify him." Okay. So then he kept coaching. He disqualifies the fighter. So that fighter has a DQ on his record by wardrobe malfunction by his coach.
Yeah,
stupid.
I don't know, man. Anyways, let me get a couple more comments. We're going to get out of here in a sec. We'll start the new podcast. Pato came in late. He said, thoughts of new management company called 3027. That's a cool name for a company. They have RDA and Vartanian. I don't know much about it. I thought RDA was with Ali. Maybe switched, I guess. Yeah, the 1 hour difference. Anyways, you caught us at a good time because we're going to start the preview podcast for UFC Vegas 88. So I appreciate you guys jumping in late, but just give us a second here. I'm going to tweet out the new podcast. Just give me a sec, guys. We'll jump in and we'll start the new podcast. And just to answer Joe's question, he said it was a piece of glass. I thought it was a piece of wood. When they say splinter, I assume it's wood, but wood makes even less sense than glass. But the piece of fence, that's interesting too. All right, guys, just give us a sec. Just bear with us for a moment. I'll get there you go. Get the dog sound.